you want to try to stay cohesive with one brand. You want to keep your messaging and aesthetics kind of looking the same.
Welcome to the E-Comm Show podcast. I am your host, Andrew Maff, owner and founder of BlueTuskr. From groundbreaking industry updates to success stories and strategies, get to know the ins and outs of the e-commerce industry from top leaders in the space. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the E-Comm Show. As usual, I am your host, Andrew Maff, and today I am joined by the president of 1Inc7, Mr. Robert Smead. Rob, how you doing, buddy? Ready for a good show?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, super excited to have you on the show. I am a big fan of this industry. The wife and I are obsessed, so having you on the show is going to be really fun. I always like to kind of start it off pretty stereotypically, just give you the floor, let you tell everyone a little bit about your background, how you got started with 1Inc7, and then we're going to take it from there.
Well, it's a long story, so I'll condense it down as much as I can. But
All good.
I've been in the tattoo industry for about 32 years now. 1994 is when I started
Wow.
in tattooing. And then around 2012 is when I developed my first product in the tattoo space, which was a tattoo stencil primer, which my whole business has been built on making products out of necessity. So really finding gaps in my tattoo process where, products that I needed to make my job easier that didn't exist and how I could fill those gaps. And so
Yeah.
that's basically how the business started. Before that, I had a t-shirt company, tattoo related t-shirt company. I made some foot switches and some portfolios for other artists and things like that. But in 2012 is when the business really started to take off after I invented the first product under our brand.
It's awesome. What was the first product? The
It was
stencil?
a tattoo stencil primer. Yeah.
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 So there's multiple. 1Inc7 is essentially like an umbrella company, correct? Because there's
Correct.
multiple brands under it. So you've got Electrum Supply, Electrum Ink, Electrum Print. Okay, my notes here, and 1974 Holdings, correct?
Yeah. 1974 Holdings is a separate entity. That's just like my personal holding company, which is involves some other independent projects that I work on outside of the tattoo space.
Gotcha.
So like I have a podcast that's part of 1974 Holdings. But yeah, 1Inc7 is all tattoo related stuff. Electrum Supply, Electrum Ink, Electrum Print, like you said.
Interesting. So why'd split them out? Why'd you do supply versus ink versus print?
Well, they were all started at different times. So Electrum Supply started in 2012. Then Electrum Ink came along in 2022.
Okay.
And then Electrum Print just started up in 2024. And so they're separate businesses, separate EIN numbers. So they're just part of the holding company. They run
Yeah.
independent of one another, but
Are
they
they
also all
similar
complement
audiences?
one another.
Yeah, I'd say they're similar audiences though, right?
Yeah, all the same audience. Yeah.
Okay. Do you kind of find ways to cross pollinate and basically, from I guess from a marketing perspective, find ways to kind of sell people onto other of of the businesses?
We do, but I guess one thing that I like about having them separated is that we can be a little bit more creative in our marketing approaches where you want to try to stay cohesive with one brand. You want to keep your messaging and aesthetics kind of looking the same. It's
Hmm.
nice because Electrum Ink, for example, we could be a lot more edgy and metal in our marketing approach, whereas we wouldn't necessarily take that approach with Electrum Supply. So I do like the fact that I have some flexibility and creative leverage in regards to being able to experiment with different marketing techniques on the different channels.
Interesting. What have you seen's working the best for you so far?
Really, it's I'm finding now more it changes, all the time. It's like people's interests change and people's attention focus changes. I feel like social media really is challenging to keep up with in general as far as like what people are going to be engaged with today versus what they're going to be engaged with tomorrow. It seems to constantly be changing all the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like a huge part of the marketing side is just constantly trying to keep up with what's relevant today and knowing that it's probably going to be outdated tomorrow. So
Yeah.
more or less now I'm finding the most engaging content is like the behind the scenes type of stuff where we're like we'll do skits with our employees or we'll do sit downs with our employees and or we'll take a camera behind the scenes and actually take our customers inside the warehouse and show you how we do things. as far as packing their orders or talking to customers on the phone or engaging with customers when they come in the store. Or that seems to be the content that really generates the most interest and engagement right now.
Interesting. The In your space, I know the one thing that's pretty different comparative to almost every other brand we've had on the show, very heavy in like conventions and going to different shows and things like that. Cause I know in the tattoo industry, I mean, there's one in a different city, like it seems like every other day. So
Sure.
is that a big part of the different businesses for all the Electrums? Is it kind of showing at all of those, or are you still leaning in on most of the digital side?
You know, with Electrum Supply, we used to do a lot of conventions. We've kind of backed off of that some because after COVID, the convention circuit kind of really changed a lot. So,
Yeah.
um, and the economy's been really kind of screwed up for the last couple of years. So, tattooing, unfortunately, is more of a luxury expense. So, when money gets tight for people, they're not necessarily splurging on tattoos like they would when the economy's healthy or when they're bringing in money and the cost of goods isn't so high. So
Yeah.
I think the challenge now with conventions is that it's not bringing the same amount of foot traffic through the doors as it did pre-COVID. So for brands like me, where you go to a convention and you potentially have, seven other supply companies on the floor at the same time, it's very challenging to make money there. So we're kind of doing a different strategy with conventions now, where we're just kind of going to shows, but not necessarily purchasing booths or floor space or hauling products to the show. But we're just going to the show, walking the floor, maybe taking some samples of products to give to artists, and really just trying to connect more one on one with artists at the show and
Yeah.
just generate leads that way. That seems to be a more healthy approach and a more fiscally responsible approach today. Whereas
Abs
with Electrum
Yeah.
Inc., we're full blown doing conventions, but heavily in South America. The tattoo scene is really thriving in South America, interestingly.
Hmm.
So we're still bringing artists to shows in South America. We're still setting up booths. We're still giving some awards at the tattoo competitions. So we're still very heavily engaged in conventions on the tattooing side.
Interesting. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because now there's a specific product line that does really well in the convention. So you lean in on that, but then you're able to take that data and then kind of replicate it across to, let's say, over to like Electrum Supply or something like that. So that makes a ton of sense. So I didn't even know that South America was a growing tattoo industry. So tattooing is changing like it feels like it's all the time, right? Styles go in and out.
Mm.
There's huge peaks of like everyone wants to get new tattoos, and then obviously you deal with issues like inflation and stuff, and so obviously it's not always the cheapest thing in the world, so it kind of spends off like what's how do you adjust based on this industry that's like constantly changing?
I mean, you got to study a lot of trends and patterns. Like historically in our industry, we always have busy time around tax time because that's when people get their tax returns. They got that extra money to burn, and they go get tattoos.
Yeah.
Whereas whereas around
It's
the
a good point.
holidays, November through December, it can become a real ghost town. Like people just are spending their money on Christmas presents and holiday type stuff. So they're not going out and spending money on tattoos around those times. So you always have to ebb and flow with those seasonal highs and lows. But even now, it's becoming more challenging because it's just like I said, it's an ever evolving landscape. In some ways, it's a very diluted landscape in regards to products. So um, there's a lot of uh, there's just a lot of dilution in the product space. So
Yeah.
you could have 20 different ink brands that you're competing against in a small niche market. So you're
Hmm.
more or less now we're really trying to find ways that we can kind of branch out of the tattoo scene a little bit with some of our products. Are there applications in sports medicine or uh, pet care? For example, we've got a few products that we think we can cross over into some different markets and maybe get some traction in those regards. So it's interesting because I probably spend 20 hours a week in marketing meetings, with my team, and we're just
Yeah.
constantly talking about different things on different platforms. And it seems like there's also a new social media platform popping up every other month. So
Yeah.
so you got to try to pick and choose which ones are going to be the ones. So right now we're really putting heavy emphasis on TikTok. We feel like Facebook and Instagram has really kind of lost its power in regards to
Yeah.
ad spend and like paid ads. We're seeing that we're not getting a good return on our ad spends on
Hmm.
Facebook and Instagram. So now, and we want to figure out, how can we get more user generated content? And it seems like TikTok is the place for that. And we like TikTok because you can incentivize users to create content by offering them commissions on your products and them helping you sell your products. So we're kind of excited about getting into that. We've been plugging a lot into that this week.
Is your e-commerce business experiencing falling revenue? BlueTuskr has helped many brands like yours excel. Unlike other marketing partners, BlueTuskr leverages a team of specialists to ensure every strategy is created and executed toward your business growth. As an extension of your marketing team, BlueTuskr prides itself on helping to fill in the gaps and develop strong omni-channel strategies to diversify your business from the rest. Ready to scale your marketing initiatives? Visit their website, bluetuskr.com. That's BLUETUSKR.com.
Do you lean in a lot into the UGC and kind of like influencer marketing and just having other tattoo artists basically leveraging all the different product lines as much as possible?
Yeah, I feel like networking is the most important thing in our world. I feel like probably in most businesses, I feel like networking is probably the most powerful tool that you can leverage,
Yeah.
especially if you have creators with 500,000 followers or more, and their demographic is the demographic that you're trying to target. So if you can pay them $40 for a $200 item that you're selling, I mean, and all they got to do is make a video and put a shop link on it, it's kind of a no brainer for them.
Yeah. That's a good point. Which so you're leaning in heavy on the TikTok side. Obviously you've got it on your own site. Are you selling anywhere else besides just your own website? Have you ventured into any of the
Amazon,
marketplaces?
yeah. I mean, we're
Yeah.
we're we're building on Amazon. We've been selling on Amazon for a few years, but now we're really focused on trying to build that platform out more.
Yeah.
Also, looking at platforms like Walmart, and trying to also get some of our products on the shelves in like Walgreens or CVS or stores like that. We have a couple of FDA approved numbing products that we'd like to see on the shelf next to Bactine, in the
Hmm.
pharmacies and things like that. So, but that's all part of the plan where we're trying to kind of branch out of the tattoo uh, focus a little bit and get into a broader marketplace.
Yeah. That's a very interesting move. You don't hear a lot of brands, they always look at their product line, look at their target audience, really segment in on the audience. They rarely try to step back and look at the product line and go, who else would like this? And start to relook at different audiences that they could potentially tap into. Are you thinking of basically expanding the brand enough to where the marketing is just relevant for additional audiences, or are you thinking like we're actually just going to launch a separate business with the same product line so that we can hyper focus on the audience?
Oh, I don't know that I've thought that far ahead of it yet. As far as like, right now my mind is just around doing what I have with the business that I have now and the brand that I have now because we've built a pretty powerful brand
Yeah.
in the tattoo space, and it's got good aesthetics and it's got good social awareness already. So I don't necessarily know that I would want to start from scratch with a whole new business. I think it's probably better to just keep building on the platform that we have,
Hmm.
and just trying to maybe branch out. Um, there's no reason why a brand necessarily has to stay stuck in the same demographic or target audience. I feel like a really good and powerful brand should be able to reach people in any segment.
Yeah. How is it with tattooing? I mean, it's an art, right? Like, I mean, you're selling to artists, so it's very much a extremely creative industry, but you're running a business in it. So how do you? What's kind of the approach there to make sure that you're still kind of catering to that classic art form and the artist, as opposed to just like you know stringent corporate business stuff?
Well, that's funny because that's always a real big topic of conversation in the industry because recently a lot of the smaller independent brands have gotten bought up by capital venturist firms.
Yeah.
So there's
Hmm.
there's a couple big capital venturist firms out there that have formed a couple big conglomerates in the space now, and they've gotten very corporate and they've really lost their um, they've lost that connection to the artist. I feel like with
Yeah.
bringing a lot of suits and ties into the mix, and that are just focused on the bottom line numbers and not necessarily the craft of tattooing. And I think that's where we continue to keep our advantage because I've been an artist for 32 years, so I understand the business. I understand the business from an artist perspective. And when I'm developing products, I'm developing them from an artist perspective and practical application and use. So I know that the products I'm putting out in the market are going to be beneficial to the artists that we're selling them to. And I think if we were to ever, we're pretty set on not selling out. We've had a couple of offers to sell our company to these people, and I've turned them down every time because I just feel like it's very important for us to keep that connection with the artist. And that's always been the most important part of my brand is just being that artist owned brand. And I think it's what's gotten us as far as we've gotten is keeping true to our roots and our ties with the community. And we just stay focused on that. And I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So is your role really kind of continuing to build almost a little bit of the personal brand? Is that why you kind of went into like the podcast side to help kind of elevate the personal brand and thus kind of trickle down effect to make sure that people are aware that you're one of them and not one of the suits and ties?
Yeah, I mean, the community recognizes me. I mean, I've been around for a long time, so
Yeah.
I'm very well recognized in the space. So I don't know. It's never a case where I have to prove that I'm one of them. They know I'm one of them. It's just I'm the visionary of the company, you know what I mean? So I'm always fueling the growth ideas and the strategies and just giving my team the freedom to do the things that they want to do. I'm not necessarily the forward facing person of the company. My daughter is more of the hands-on artist relations person. She's
Hmm.
very good with the artist. She's been by my side since she was 15 years old. So she's,
Wow.
long time. She's been by my side learning this business and this trade. And so she can connect just as well, if not better, with the artist than I can. And she's much more personable. And you know, I'm just more strictly business in my approach to things. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
looking at numbers all day and trying to strategize marketing plans. And she thoroughly enjoys going out and talking to artists and being at shows and picking up the phone or talking to artists when they come in the shop. And she's just always got a smile on her face. And I feel like that customer service is really that's really the secret sauce, man. It's all about good customer service.
Oh yeah. Especially in that industry. Cuz I know
Yeah.
like there's you have artists that feel a certain way about other artists, but that's usually nuanced small things. But either way, like once you kind of break into that community, it's definitely a tight knit community. Word travels fast. So, really good customer service and being able to take care of them, things tend to spread pretty quickly. Do you do anything in terms of kind of cultivating that community and keeping them all in one place? Like I know some people do like Facebook groups or like Slack channels or anything like that. Like anything you kind of do to bring everyone into one area?
Yeah, we've done that the whole time. So, way back in the beginning, we had a group called the Killer Artist Alliance that was like artists that we traveled to conventions with. And it's always been kind of that family dynamic. We've also had like Electrum Elite, which would be like our sponsored artist or like our pro team artist and then we just recently we've launched like the Business of Tattooing, which is like a complete educational
Yeah,
content platform. So we do
that's smart.
lots of educational content on like just how to be a better shop owner, how to market yourself on social media properly, and we don't charge anything for that. It's all just a free service to our user base and our fans and customers. And we've gotten a lot of good positive engagement and feedback from that. And we just like to be able to do that. So I think that really keeps our community tight, and it's what keeps people coming back to us and staying loyal to us for all these years.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really smart idea. You get a lot of businesses that kind of feel like, typically it's not the case, but they feel like they've capped out on their community. And so they usually just say, like, okay, this is it. I've kind of hit a wall. But I think it's genius to start creating content to educate people, to help them get more involved in the community or join the community. And so you're actually growing your artist base or your community base by starting off right from the beginning. And it makes a ton of sense. What's the you started the business it was at 17, I think, right? So like you've been at this or you've been in the industry for years. So what's the next step? Like what are your thoughts on where you want to take 1Ink7 and the whole Electrum line?
Man, I've got a lot. That's the problem with my headspace is that I'm an elite visionary, realistically, in every definition of that word. So I'm just constantly brainstorming new product ideas, new growth ideas. I've got a million ideas, and the good thing about my internal team is that they're very good at recognizing that 99 out of 100 of my ideas aren't necessarily good ideas. You know what I mean? And we don't want to really invest time and resources into all 100 of these ideas.
Yeah.
But out of every 100 ideas, I come out with a good one, and that's just continues to what builds our business. We're just going to keep building our educational content, working on expanding our podcast platform with educational and regulatory navigation content, and just keep building our community of artists. And like I said, try to find ways to creatively expand out of the tattoo space in some way, shapes, and forms.
Yeah.
And then we've got other ideas with some product launches and things like that, and just creative marketing ideas. But otherwise, we're just focused on growing our bottom line and bringing more customers into the business in the Electrum family.
Love it. Rob, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you're super busy. I appreciate you having you on the show. I would love to give you the floor, let everyone know where they can find out more about you and, of course, more about 187.
Sure. So the best way is Instagram, TikTok, Electrum Supply, Electrum Inc. Both of those platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Electrum Supply and Electrum Inc., electruminc.com or electrumsupply.com. And then my personal social media is No Flash Ninja on Instagram.
Love it. Rob, thank you so much for being on the show. Everyone who tuned in, as usual, thank you as well. Please make sure you do the usual thing: rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff on whichever podcast platform you prefer, or head over to the ecommshow.com to check out all of our previous episodes. But as usual, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in to the E-Comm Show. Head over to ecommshow.com to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on the BlueTuskr YouTube channel. The E-Comm Show is brought to you by BlueTuskr, a full-service digital marketing company specifically for e-commerce sellers looking to accelerate their growth. Go to BlueTuskr.com now for more information. Make sure to tune in next week for another amazing episode of the E-Comm Show.